Hello. Today I'm going to be sharing something that we don't usually talk about, particularly women over 40 who want to grow into being wealthy, healthy, and just free to enjoy life. Even other people don't talk about this that I am going to be sharing with you. Trust me, it has nothing to do with working hard. It has nothing to do with aspiring to be perfect, whatever that means. It is something that is much more powerful. And when you internalize it, you never look back because life blossoms. There are many things that fall into place. And you know what that is? Stay with me because I'm going to share that with you. This is how I learned the hard lesson when I was a high flying lawyer sitting on boards. I didn't realize that I was literally operating or living autopilot. I was burned out. And on this particular day, I boarded a wrong flight. Instead of boarding a flight back home of 50 minutes, I boarded a wrong flight, a 2-hour flight from one city to another. And I only realized 30 minutes before landing that I was on a wrong flight. And thanks to that airline, because they took responsibility for this passenger who was on a wrong flight. So, what did I learn? I learned the importance of intentional self-direction. I had to be honest with myself and do self-examination. What was going on in my life? It was so embarrassing. I could barely talk about it because my life was on autopilot. It was not a focused life with direction, if I could put it that way. I was just flowing with whatever was in front of me. I didn't even have time to myself. I don't want that to happen to you. So as I've just indicated, I learned the importance of intentional self-direction. And that, what does that mean? Right. When we reach 40 and 50, 60, we usually ask ourselves hard questions. After all, we are no longer the sprightly 20s and 30s. And that is why I talk about intentional self-direction, because particularly when you are 40 and above, you are at a crossroads, unlike some of us who are well over 60 now. However, there are challenges. You begin to question certain things. Sometimes you are even feeling stuck, particularly if you are in a job that you don't enjoy. You give of yourself, it's family, it's work, and you hardly have time to yourself. Sometimes you do feel stuck. And this video is for you because, as I've indicated, I learned the hard lesson that it was important for you and I to be intentional about the direction our lives want to take. And for me, I decided that, number one, I wanted to slow down. And secondly, I decided that it was important for me to ask a very, very hard, challenging question. Is this the life that I wanted to live? So I questioned that. I then realized that, and I hope you also do, that wealth meant alignment with values, alignment with the choices I make, alignment with the company I keep, alignment with a healthy lifestyle, alignment with taking action, inspired action. So there I was, being challenged to look at wealth broadly. I realized that when it came to wealth, I could be wealthy materially, but what also mattered was that I be wealthy inside. So, one step at a time, I slowed down. I designed my life because there was this self-direction now that I was pursuing. I hope you also do that. Every morning, I spent an hour to myself. I would not read anything. I would not watch the news. It was my quiet time with myself. I jotted down just one thing that I wanted to achieve that day without loading the day. And one step at a time, I started enjoying the quietness. And it wasn't just this quietness, it was a quietness that spoke to me. It gave me direction. There were nudges, there were ideas, there were feelings, and some thoughts were thoughts that were no longer serving this person who was becoming a new human being. And when I became very health conscious, emotionally and mentally, I would get out and walk just to celebrate and welcome a fresh new day, something that I never used to do. And freedom. I realized that I thought I was free, but the lifestyle, my professional, demanding lifestyle, was a prison. Actually, it was a comfortable prison of a high-flying lawyer, and I did not want to have anything to do with that. So, one step at a time, I took decisions that I call courageous decisions to move away from the old me to becoming the new me. It wasn't an overnight success. Sometimes there were temptations to regress because, after all, I have to get up and do A, B, C, D. However, I became very particular about respecting and honoring the private undertakings I had made. It became one step at a time. I still remember that. It took weeks, but there was a time when I started wondering why I was enjoying these early morning, I don't want to call them rituals, they were activities, they were actions that I just took for myself. I started enjoying them. I did not have to start yawning and stretching as if somebody was dragging me out of the house. And today, it is natural for me to cherish the early mornings that are not disturbed. Actually, I celebrate them. I even celebrate just going for walks. I call them the walks of joy, and I will not go back to that. I love it. So, how did this happen? Simply by redefining three things. Stay with me. And that is why I then decided to write a book, The Unstoppable You. I celebrate with my students what to do in order to be unstoppable. In that book, it's a course book, 5 days. Just visit my website and it is there. I am taking the over 40s and I am inspired by my experience. I'm condensing time. That there are 3 things that I had to focus on. The mind. I had to focus on the feelings, and I then had to focus on rewriting my identity. Let's come to the mind. The mind. It took a very long time to enjoy the quietness in the morning. I meditated. I sat still. I did all sorts of things until I learned just to be quiet and enjoy the silence without reading, without doing anything, just being there. I enjoyed just breathing. I enjoyed just those 10 breaths, the breath work. And it was very invigorating, assuring that life is worth celebrating. Even my bed, just to the comfort of my bed, meant something. And these were very, very small, insignificant things that I had been taking for granted. Trust me, I started just enjoying that. Whenever there were funny thoughts flashing, I ignored them. After all, I was becoming the person who did not even live in the past. I was moving away from living in the past, thinking about the mistakes I had made, even boarding a wrong aircraft, etc. For me, those were lessons. My failures were lessons. And I enjoyed being a new person every day, one step at a time. There was nothing melodramatic. I even enjoyed, and I became committed to looking into my finances, making sure that my lifestyle is healthy. I enjoyed investing in just reading good books, not law journals. That is something that I started celebrating. Just the ordinary new me. And I still celebrate that every day because I learn and grow every day, and I do hope that you also learn and grow every day as you commit yourself to intentional self-direction. Remember, I said we don't usually talk about intentional self-direction, and it is very, very important that it becomes a guide, a North Star. Feelings. I learned that feelings were not just feelings. There were feelings, and I also just enjoyed reading those feelings. Those that made me uncomfortable were telling me something. I did not have to ignore them. They were telling me something. And when I internalized feelings that were aligned with who I was becoming, that was beautiful. And I can say that it's now very easy for me to manage feelings that take me away from this joyful, peaceful, celebratory state. And I do hope that you grow into reading your feelings, feeling them, and internalizing those that are taking you to becoming a new you. Thirdly, I had to rewrite my identity. I was no longer the person who was living in the past, haunted by mistakes and harboring hurts. I grew. I grew to becoming a new woman. A new woman who trusted herself. A new woman who would say no when she had to say no. I rewrote my identity. And today, I'm not confused, and I do hope that you too grow into being a confident, assured, courageous, and gracious person who is unapologetic. These are the lessons that I learned, and thanks to having caught that wrong flight. Otherwise, I would not have been jostled into what I'm sharing with you, and that is why I have published that ebook. Please just visit my website, and the description below is going to take you to that book, The Unstoppable You. If you find meaning in this video, remember to like it, subscribe and share with friends, and I look forward to us engaging further as we are growing into being unstoppable women, growing into wealth, health, and freedom. See you next time.